Alright, looks like we're live. Hi everyone. I'm just gonna do some settings here in the background. Excuse me. Because I want to make sure that I get things right. Okay. Right. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes to settle in. Before we begin, my name's David. I'm gonna be going through some stuff using Vassal and showing, or not showing how to, but demonstrating me going through a human wave, and maybe you can pick up some hints on it. Because not just the mechanics of the human wave, but it's also maybe some stuff you can do to try to fend it off. As I wait here, while I check my stream to make sure I can get my, so I can get my questions and stuff. It seems to take a while for it to come through. Got some sort of delay going on. Oh, here we go. It's not just the mechanics of the human wave, but it's all... There we go. Got it. Alright, so now I got it there, and I got the chat going so I can talk. I'm going to bring it up so I can see what I'm doing. Good. So it's easier. Advanced Squad Leader. We're learning how to use a slide rule. Slide rules are definitely much easier. Multiplication, division, square roots, the whole bit. You can do some trigonometry on there, you can do some exponent functions. Get a scientific one, you can do all sorts of stuff. Advanced Squad Leader. This is the manual for that. For my slide ruler, this is the manual for that. And this is for the Versalog slide rule, engineering, to do trigonometry, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, don't need it for this. I just find it funny. So I'm going to go through some human wave stuff here, and I got it set up. You can see there, this is Guards Counterattack. I've got the guards are over here, and it's like the game has been set up as before. And the idea here is not to show you, like, we're not going to be playing a whole game. I'm going to show a little bit of maybe some stuff as we go through it. But so we're using a game turn 1. Let's say that the Soviet player is aggressive and wants to partake in a human wave right off the bat. I thought there was a steer. Was at the back. Okay, never mind. So, let's go through the game turn first. Everything's set up. Do the wind change first. It's the rally phase. I rolled a 5. There's no effect. I go to the prep fire phase. If you're going to do movement without fire, it's probably deadly. Cheers, by the way. So I'm going to do some prep fire here. I got this guy here. Across the row we have a machine gun, as you can see there. There's actually, I'll click it out again. There's Pollock, the leader, with 2 half squads and 2 light machine guns, and their aim, of course, is to get some fire support across the front of this building here. This guy here has got a firepower of 8, with a -1 leader. You can see he's there. Put him on top. He's actually going to direct the fire, so he'll be marked as well. I'm going to fire in there, so it's going to be a firepower 8. The DRMs are +3 for the building, -1 for leaders, so it's an IFT 8 attack. Dice roll modifier +2. I rolled a 5. 5 + 2 is a 7. That's a 1 morale check. As, oh man, it keeps popping on the wrong screen. I know the lower end of the IFT pretty well, but you can see here, I rolled a 5. 5 + 2 is 7. My mouse is hovering over where it says MC. Also, if you look at this chart here, you see right across on the 7 line is a darker blue. And that sort of helps offset so you can see where 7 is. Alright, so we know it's quiet. It's a +1 morale check. We know the leaders have to go first. Sorry, single man counters have to go first. Morale check. Roll 2 dice, add 1. 7 + 1 is 8. He pins. So I'll mark him pinned. The 2 2-4-7s will have to roll. Morale checks the first one. Roll the 7 + 1 is an 8. He fails. And the next one, I rolled a 5. 5 + 1 is a 6. He passes. I'll put that guy on top. So I'll arrange the stacks. So we got the broken half squad, we get the pinned leader, and we have the half squad with the light machine gun. That's fine. These guys up here, upstairs, they're going to fire as well. They're going to fire across the way, and they're actually going to use spray fire. I'm going to zoom in close so you can see them. This is the same type of guy here. In fact, I'll clone him, bring him over here. I'll zoom in on him. If I can find my mouse again. I really hate it some days when I can't find my mouse. Alright. See this guy here? The first numeral is underscore that denotes assault fire. The second numeral under his range is underscore. That denotes spray fire. So we can fire 2 adjacent locations as long as they're within 3 hexes of him, and basically split the fire that way. And that's what's going to happen here. So I'll get rid of this guy here. Yoink, yoink. Alright, so we have 6, 6, 6, 18. You're going to spray the fire on the other 2 there. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. Don't need the slide rule for that. 9 plus 3. So it's going to be an 8 plus 3 attack. 1 dice roll for the 2 of them. We'll do that now on the IFT. I rolled a 10 plus 3 is 13. We know that's nothing. Check the chat. Nothing. Alright, I'm just going to say chat is live. Alright. So, nothing there. I gotta find my... There it is. Okay. We're not doing anything on this side here, so we're not going to worry about that right now. So I'm just going to go straight to the movement phase. And so we're going to get into a human wave. I'll get the counters ready. Under unit, infantry, expand it, and look at human wave. It's all right there. All the charts are right there. We have some there from the Korean War for bayonet charge. We have banzai for Japanese. They do banzai attacks, which are similar to human waves. I'm drinking Canadian whiskey tonight, by the way. So the rule reference for human waves is in Chapter A, 25.23. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there, a lot of verbiage, and I'm just going to pare it down a little bit to the essentials. First thing is you have to have at least an average of 2 multi-man counters per hex that are participating, and you need 3 or more continuous or contiguous hexes, and there has to be 1 leader at least. And at least one of these hexes must have line of sight to a target. And that target has to be within 8 hexes. Point to note, anybody who's part of the human wave is exempt certain things. They're exempt from heat of battle. They're exempt from pin checks unless there are booby traps in place. They won't be pinned, but they could suffer a booby trap attack. And they don't pin as well. Also, their morale is raised by 1, anybody who's participating. There's no such thing as assault move. Or, sorry, there is a such thing, but they're not allowed to do it. They cannot dash. You can see here, I used this example before where they dashed across the street. There is no dash. And they can only carry their portage points. I got a message here. Okay, I'm going to get that later. It's an important message. They can only carry the portage points, so if they're going to carry something that'll slow them down, they have to drop it. And they can only go forward or sideways, and there's a good map in here. And I'll just use this guy here as an example, and I'll use this half squad as an example. Like, say this guy has a human wave, he's going down to him. These 3 hexes would be considered forward because he's moving towards the guy. He's getting closer. Alright? Now assume that it's on one of these weird alternate grains. So the first 2 that are forward, that would be forward, that would be forward. But they're also allowed to go to the side like that. But the idea is that they're just trying to get closer towards the enemy. Which makes perfect sense, I suppose. We'll put these guys back, get rid of the move counters, then we're set. And there's some other stuff that goes on. So, right off the bat, I'm declaring a human wave. So I'm going to get this, you put a couple of targets down. Just make sure I got it right. And they basically point at each other. There we go. And this guy will go there. So you can see what we've done now. We've established the direction, and what you can see here is we are using the alternate grain. So they won't be moving straight at the enemy. They have to use the sort of zigzag motion of hexes as they go forward. So for example, this hex moving to here will have to go into one of the 2 forward locations, and only the side, again, as you get going through, it gets a little more complex. And long story short, you want to make sure you get that, get just you're closing the distance with the enemy. So there are 2 human wave counters that come with Vassal. That's what I'm playing. You got one here, it's red with white letters, and the other one's red with white letters. I like the red one because it does say under the pin and heat of battle are non-applicable. And you can use this to mark down who is part of the human wave. So you can see I've got 1, 2, 3 hexes here. Get rid of the move count. Oh, there's no CVPs. Got rid of the, there are 3 hexes. There's an average of 2 multi-man counters in each hex. There's 2 here, there's 2 there, and there's 3 there, so the average is better than 2. And we got a leader, we got Berkey. We've got the direction designated. We've designated those people, and they will be part of the human wave until the human wave ends. And I'm going to read it verbatim here because it's, well, you can read it yourself. Essentially, a unit remains a human wave unit until it's eliminated or broken, it's out of movement factors, or at the start of the location of the impulse in a location containing an armed known enemy unit. So, we'll talk about what that means. Basically, if the unit's dead, of course, they're out of it. If they've run out of movement factors, they can no longer advance, or sorry, they can no longer move, so they're out of it. Also, if they're in a location with an enemy unit that's armed, that they're going to be engaging with, because they can enter those locations. In fact, that's what the whole point of this. Then they're no longer part of a human wave. So they are, the morale drops back down, they can pin, they can all that sort of stuff. We'll get to that. And we'll talk about how they move here. They move in what's called an impulse move. Basically, they all move, when they expend movement factors, they all move at the same time, like this. So everybody is moving forward, and there's a neat thing in Vassal where you can actually select them all at the same time, and they will all move at the same time. It's kind of cool, like this. Watch. I'm going to move them forward. But that didn't work. I'll move them out in the street. There. When you count the movement factors when they move, everybody moves at the pace of the slowest person. Here they all moved out into the open. So the expenditure is only 1. If one of them moved into a building, then the expenditure for everybody would be 2. Anyway, so they all moved. Look at that, they all moved at the same time. It's kind of cool. At the expenditure, of course, the defender can expend what you want to call defensive first fire. And this guy here is going to shoot. He's going to shoot the machine gun down here, and it's going to use a fire lane. And it's this one. You can see it with green arrows on the bottom. So basically, he's going to go like this. He's firing at him, but the fire lane will hit everybody. And it hits everybody at the same time. A human wave, because of impulse movement, it's going to be sweeping the streets. Everybody's getting hit. It's the same dice roll for this guy, but these guys will also be shot as well. And I just got to quickly check, but I'm pretty sure that each hex gets its own individual attack. But I will confirm. That's why we have the rules here. If you're online and you have the answer to this, please put it in the chat. I'm looking at the chat right now. Chat is live. There's no comments. If you do see it, please say something. Alright, fire lane. Oh my goodness. Fire attacks, fire group, fire lane. See if there's something there for human wave. Sometimes they do. This is pretty good. Hindrance, soft hindrance, no. A9.22. Alpha 9.22. Fire lane, nothing fire game, residual, cancellation, sustained fire. Yeah. It makes sense to me because they are separate attacks, separate moves. I'm going to roll separately for each one. So first is the attack here. It's a firepower 2 on that hex there. Firepower 2, the dice roll modifier is -2. -1 for moving in the open, -1 for non-assault movement. So I'll make the shot. It's a 7, rate average. Nobody's rolled 6 yet. That's the sniper. I want to keep that going. 7 -2 is a 5. 5 on the 2 column is excuse me, is a normal morale check, and I'll pull it up here so you can see. There's the 2 column. I rolled a 7. Take away 2 is 5. You can see there it says NMC, normal morale check. All right. Yoink. So what do we got in there? Oh, we got a leader. Morale's 10. Don't forget his morale's raised by 1. His morale is 11. He's fine. And the other 3 with them, they're like basically don't roll 12s. And they're fine. I didn't roll a 6, did I? 5? Nope, I didn't. Okay. It's all good. So they fired. But there's the fire lane here and here. So there's a 1 minus 2 and a 1 minus 2. I'll do the closer one first. Goes 7 minus 2 is a 5. That's, I believe it's a pin task check, and they are immune from that. That's correct, the pin task check, so I don't have to roll it. 1 minus 2 here. Bad. 3 minus 2 is a 1. 1 on the 1 column is a K/1. So they did cause some casualties here. So there's 2 units, so I have to roll for random selection. I'll go top to bottom. The top one, or the higher number, will suffer a casualty reduction. So the bottom guy will casualty reduce. He's a half squad. And the survivors get a 1 morale check. Remember, the morale is actually raised by 1, so we'll consider it like a normal morale check. Full squad, it's fine. Half squad, rolled an 8, he's fine. It goes up to 9, but that equals his morale. Normally you would pin, but they're immune from pinning, so they're okay. So that was his first fire. This guy here sees his friends are in trouble, so he's going to shoot as well. He's going to declare the target there. What I'll do is I'll commit to the attack, and then now I'll confirm there's line of sight from J5 to F4, and look at that, there is. Range is 4, it's normal range, so firepower 4, dice roll modifier -2, not leader directed. I roll a lot of 7s. 7 minus 2 is a 5, and if we remember right, actually that's a 1 morale check on the 6, on the, what column am I using? 4 column. 4 column. Firepower 4, I rolled a 7 minus 2. We can see here where my cursor is. It's a 1 morale check. Close this again. So we'll pop him out. So the 10, I'll roll morale check and add 1. 7 plus 1 is an 8. He's okay. These other guys here, top down morale checks. A 6. All right, sniper. Ooh, a 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. Minus 3 for the leader. He's okay. And the last one, he's okay. There was a sniper. Do I roll? No, the German rolled a 6. So far, and I'll put a 2 in there, 2 residual. So far, the German fire has been pretty ineffective. We got a machine gun blasting away across through here, laying down a fire lane, and these guys are charging through it like big troopers. He did take out half a squad down here, but that's fine. Now we've got these clowns down here, and they're going to fire as well because they know what's up. So he's going to fire at this guy, and it's going to be firepower 2, double for point blank to 4, so 4 minus 2. Minus 1 non-assault movement, minus 1 for moving in the open. On the 4 column, IFT, an 11, minus 2 is a 9. 9 is German for no, but it does leave 2 residual, and that's pretty important. This guy's going to do the same thing. He's going to fire on the same person, and he's going to shoot. Oh, this time he was a little bit better. He rolled a 4. 4 minus 2 is a 2. 2 on the 4 column is a K2, so he did cause some casualties on this stack here. There are 2 of them, so random selection, top to bottom. A 4 and a 1, so the top guy gets reduced. And then they had a, I just said what it was, a K2, so it's a +2 morale check. So I'm going to roll the dice twice. Start with the top one, I'm going to add 2 to the result. 4 plus 2 is 6, that one's fine. The squad, 6, sniper, plus 2 is 8. The guy's morale is 9, he's fine. See if the sniper activates. It does not. Alright, so we've had a lot of fire coming here so far, and the only other one really is this concealed guy here. He can see those guys. This guy can have a choice. He can either choose to shoot now, or he can choose until later. Right now he's got the guy out in the open, -2. Yeah, the morale's a little bit higher, but if I were the German, I think I'd be defending now, especially knowing that I have the -1 Kelso in there with 2 squads and the light machine gun. The light machine gun won't add anything to the firepower. Go from 8 to 11. There's no 11 column. But the idea is you can get ready to fire, maybe shoot the thing again. And also you're looking at leadership modifiers. Maybe firepower 8. I'm not going to fire it because I don't want to break it. Firepower 8, DRM -3. -1 for the leader. -1 for moving in the open, and -1 for non-assault movement. So firepower 8, DRM -3 on him. Leader directed. Man, it's terrible. Rolled a 9. Net 6. 6 on the 8 column is a +1 morale check. So there's 2 guys there. The squad and the half squad. The squad morale check +1. I rolled a 9. 9 + 1 is 10. His morale's 9. It breaks. Do they break? I might be getting confused with Berserk here, and this is why I got the rules here. I'm pretty sure they just break, and they're just done. Excuse me, because it does say that they, when they end, units, limited broken. Okay, when it breaks. Yeah, so he breaks. So F, and he is no longer part of the human wave according to the rules. How about that? And the 328, he does his morale check. A 10 + 1 is 11, and that is actually higher than his morale. So he will break as well, and these guys are no longer part of the human wave. Oh, I'm getting some chats here. Good. Advanced squad leader spotting around. That is my kind of rolling. Evening, David. Yes, they do break. Thank you, for that. Yes, got it. I'm going to get into the chat here. I have to use 2 windows for it. It's terrible. I got confused with Berserkers. That's often. No, we did have some good rolls. So let's, I did get a 10, but I mean, hey, that's fine. But I think that's good because it does demonstrate that these guys, they're no longer part of the human wave and they lose the chit. So, is there any other, what do you call it? Defensive first fire. Well, no, nobody else has any lines of sight to anybody. So we talked about the impulse movement, and we're actually going to get into some more now here. So they're going to move together. So these guys here are going to move and join there. That'll cost them 2. These guys can go forward here or here. These guys are out of it. And as I recall, they got to try to stay close together with each other. So that's what I'm going to do. I just show you how the residual works and why it's important to leave residual down. And I'll put the residual on top. So before any first fire, before any defensive first fire happens, residual does attack first. So in this hex is a dice, an attack of 2, DRM -2. So let's see what happens there. So that's a free attack. A 7 -2 on the 5 column is a normal morale check. So I'll start with Berkey at the top. Don't roll 12. He's fine. And then we got the 3 full squads. Again, just don't roll 12. Heat of battle. They're exempt heat of battle, so we don't have to worry about it. Cheers. Alright. At this time, however, I can do defensive first fire. And I'm going to do some that's going to be kind of obvious. This guy here is going to be shooting at him point blank, and it's going to be subsequent first fire. He's already fired, so his firepower is going to be halved to 1, but double for point range to 2. So it's a 2 -2 attack point blank on this. Fires away. Oh, God. He rolled a 3. That's incredible. So it goes to a 1 that's a 1 KIA. Actually, this is the first time I got a KIA during these videos, so that's good. So first thing that happens is it's a 1 KIA. It means that one of the units there, first of all, will will die. And it's by random selection. And if it's tie for the top one, sorry, but they both go, or whatever. So top to bottom, Berkey, a 2, then 3 squads. 1, 2, 3. So one of the squads, it doesn't matter which one, is destroyed. The remainder automatically break. Now we did see that the leader, they're going to see something here, and also they're no longer part of the human wave. Leader loss morale checks happen when the leader dies in location. Leader loss task checks happen if a leader breaks and there are units in the location that have lower morale. In this case, broken guys don't pin, so we don't have to worry about that. So I'll put the residual on top. So this little tiny little half squad, you're told for missing earlier. In here, this guy has options, and he's going to fire as well, but he can only fire at the unit in his location. This is due to a rule called target selection limits, which basically says if somebody's in your location, an enemy is in your location, you cannot shoot at anybody else. You got to shoot at him, no matter if he fired yet or not. See armor bypass Sleaze freeze. That's the kind of thing. It's kind of fun. Okay. So what are the modifiers? He has a firepower of 2. He's already fired, so it's going to be halved to 1. Let's do it the other way. He's tripled for point blank fire, so 2 triples to 6, but then halved for he's already fired, so it's down to 3. So it's on the 2 column. Firepower 2. Make sure I do this right. 2 triple to 4, 6. Half for already fired. Yeah, it's a firepower 2. Dice roll modifier +3 for the building, but -1 for non-assault movement. Okay, he's going to fire. 5. 5 plus 2 is a 7. On the 2 column is no effect. But guess what? I got a guy back here who's going to fire, and this is actually going to show something kind of cool too. Actually, since he's in his location, you got to mark them with close combat counter. Also notice that this guy here is in a location with an armed enemy unit. He is no longer part of the human wave, so therefore the human wave has ended. It's done. They're marked with close combat because he enters the location, and he did fire with firepower of 2, and there's a residual firepower of 1. He's shooting, it obviously doesn't affect him. So you may ask yourself, well, what if this guy wants to shoot? What happens? Well, he can, and he will. Since they're not marked with melee, they're actually marked with close combat, not melee. This guy can fire on the enemy target in there and only affect the enemy. It won't affect his own guy, so he's free to shoot. And he will shoot. He has 3 squads for 12. You got 2 light machine guns for 6 more to 18. He's going to fire the whole shooting match. Wetzelberger here is a -2 leader. This is going to be a powerful attack. So remember, you have firepower of 16. The dice roll modifier, I'll put it there because I got to remember. It's +3 for the stone building, -2 for Wetzelberger, -1 for the first fire non-assault movement for a net attack of 16 DRM 0. So what you roll is what you roll. Snake eyes. All right. Anyway, so 16, the 2 and the 16 is a 2 KIA. And for what it's worth, the machine guns got rate, and also the residual will increase. I think this is it. Firepower of 8. It's a 2K. There's 2 units there. They're just both dead. Yeah, that's the end of the movement. I love when this stuff happens. So it's actually pretty good because this way, if you roll, if there were more units, you'd have to roll random selection on the top 2 dice rolls. Were good. Yeah, it makes up earlier. Yeah, it does. But again, I just wanted to show the human wave. The human wave is over. It's all done. Residual's done. Everybody is shot, and the Germans have actually come across pretty good on this because if you see the pile here, the Soviets have lost 3 full squads because this guy here, he broke as well, so it would be like that. Or he was reduced to a half squad, and there's a full squad there. There was 3, 6, 9. There were 9 squads that went in on it. 3 squads were destroyed. Yeah, and I agree. You said you played this a few times. The human wave merely made it across hole. That's right. And again, I'm just doing it in this purpose here, just to show how it works, and also show some methods to shoot at it. You just want to lay down a carpet of residual fire because the human wave, it's forced to enter residual all the time, and that's, as a defender, what you want to do. So as an attacker, yes, you can do this. And I think it's a good way if you have, say, for example, conscripts. And I'm thinking of ASL. I think it's Delta, Hedgehog at Piepsk. You have a whole mob of conscripts, right? And what you want to do is you want to get them up there as fast as you can. Once you get within 8 hexes with your commissar, launch a human wave, and you have this mass attack coming in. Their movement factors. Where's the thing here? There it is. I love it. I love this counter. So as a reminder for conscripts, I'll pull a conscript counter down for the Soviets so you can see what I'm talking about. Squad, there he is there. This conscript here normally has a movement factor of 3, and that's it. Put it in human wave, movement factors go to 8. His morale of 6 goes to 7, and if they break, you really don't care because usually you have a ton of these guys, and you're just flooding a target. So yeah, that's it. That was the human wave, and you can see, even just looking at the screen right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 counters out there. Like this guy here are 5 fire counters for the defenders. They've just been piling all sorts of bullets at these guys. So again, if you're gonna go after a human wave, make sure you knock down some of the fire. Some of it was knocked down here, or later in the game, that kind of stuff. But we went through it just as a reminder. As I wrap up here, the rules reference Chapter A, 25.23. A few things to remember. There's all sorts of verbiage in there, and I'm not going to get into the details. But basically, an average of 2 multi-man counters per hex. You have to have 3 or more hexes. You have to have at least 1 leader, and at least one of these hexes has a line of sight to an enemy within 8 hexes. And remember, it says right on the counter there, they're NA for pinning, for heat of battle, for patsies, all that kind of stuff. The morale is up by 1. There's no assault move, there's no dash. They can only clear their PP, they don't want them to be slowed down. And they only move forward or sideways as they move up. They can go upstairs, of course, if they're chasing somebody upstairs. And they end being part of the human wave when they break, when they enter a location that has an armed enemy unit that they're going to engage in. Or if they run out of movement factors. That's basically it. So that was a human wave for tonight. I want to thank everybody for jumping in. Just checking the chat here. You're right. Played the story a few times, and human wave merely makes it across hole. That's true. So as the Soviet player, you have to realize you're going to lose a lot of people. Anyway, there you go. Hope you had fun watching. I'm going to turn on some... I'm actually going to watch some Canadian football tonight. We got the Toronto Argonauts are hosting, I was going to say the BC Lions, not the BC Lions. Ottawa Rough Rider, or Rough Riders are our team. Ottawa Rough Riders are our team. They're the Ottawa Red Blacks. The Ottawa Red Blacks are in town tonight. I'll be watching it, flipping between that and the hockey game. So thanks again for watching. Last time I ended the stream, my last few words were cut off. So I'm going to do a silent count to 20 this time when I say goodbye. And I wish everybody a good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Please leave any comments or questions in the comment box below. Please do subscribe. And we'll talk to you later. Have a great night. Bye-bye.